I'm always kind of jealous when people are like, yeah, my first song I made it on GarageBand. I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
I want that.
I guess I did, but it was just like bad.
Did you actually?
When I was like a child.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like probably on like an iPad of sorts.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yeah, I did too, but those won't. Actually, I think they did see the light of day for a short.
Really?
Yeah.
I love your music.
Oh.
It's awesome.
Thanks.
I like accidentally do this when like people will like interview me for like music or something, and I'm like, tell me everything about your life. Like I like don't want to talk about myself enough to where I'm filling up enough space.
It happens to me often on this show where people will turn it around at me and I'm like, back to you.
I'm like, sorry. Like this one person interviewed me and he was like, oh, like I'm living in like Colorado right now and I'm like a rafting guide. I'm like, so you're like expecting me not to ask you like a bunch of questions about what that's like?
Tell me about rafting.
Yeah, I was like, tell me everything about rafting.
I think that's valid and a sign of a good person.
Oh,
you should want to know about rafting.
Yeah, I'm like, what? I don't know anything about that. I'm trying to learn.
And then you did.
And then I did, and it was awesome. And he was like, what are you doing? I'm like, having a conversation with him.
Yo, doesn't go both ways. Hi, this is Once to Watch Chef's Choice. I'm Abby Kenna, and today I'm joined by Emory. How you doing?
Wee!
Wait, now I need to know your siblings' names.
Okay, true. My older sister, her legal name is Elizabeth, and she goes by Lily. And
Lily?
Then, yeah.
That's not what I was expecting.
No, it's not. For a second, I think she was going to be Emily, and then it was like Emily, Emma, and then I was like, okay,
I taught piano lessons to a pair of sisters, and their names were Emma and Emily.
I think it's kind of cute, but then that would stress me out as a teacher.
I was just like, that's an interesting choice. I want to know what made you like those names that are so similar.
There's so many names.
Yeah.
It's like, why?
But I liked it.
Okay.
It was nice.
It's kind of cute when I'm like, oh, it's not me. I'm like, oh, cute. They're similar. But if it's me, I would be like, am I not special?
Right,
like,
yeah.
But then my younger sibling is William, and they go by Whit.
I love Whit. That's
Whit's
a cool
really cute.
name.
Yeah.
Sick.
Whit is dope.
Just three cool siblings.
Just 3 cool siblings.
That's awesome.
Yeah. 2 cool siblings, 1 middle sibling off
I don't
doing
know
whatever
who you're
the fuck
talking
she's
about.
doing.
It's not you. So.
It is.
Well, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I didn't know that you had moved to LA.
Yeah. Like just moved.
Yeah.
Like early August. Yeah. I like graduated college and was always planning to move. Well, I didn't really want to move, but I like through college I did like mostly production and like session work.
Right.
And in New York that exists, but it like doesn't exist as much as it does here, like as a structure. And I was like, I need to make money. So I was like, all of my like mentors were like, you should probably like female producer, like get out to Los Angeles, which was funny. But yeah,
it's unfortunately true.
it is. And I've met so many cool people and
That's
I'm glad that I moved, but it definitely is very different.
Yeah. How do you like it in comparison to New York thus far?
Weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
No, I like it. I feel really glad that I moved. And I moved with like 3 of my best friends, which is so awesome. So it doesn't feel like an ice cold like move to a new scary place. I mean, it is that, but it's also I like know people and it's fine. But it's weird. It's a weird city. Everything is so I moved from New York and so I like have been forcing LA to be like as walkable as possible. Right. Which is like a dangerous game, I realized.
Lots of sides of highways.
Yes. Yeah. I haven't ventured that far, but maybe I can see that in my future for sure. But
it's
it
okay
is
if you don't, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably, you know what? Thanks for saying that. I probably won't be doing that. But yeah, everything is so spread apart and like feels like a bunch of little cities in one big city. But it's cool. I don't know. I've met cool people and feels fine. But I miss New York. I miss New York. New York is so awesome. But it's expensive.
Oh my God. I mean, what isn't at this point? But true. Yeah, I feel like LA was hard for me when I first moved here and continues to be.
Where did you move from?
I grew up in New Jersey.
Oh, whoa. Wait, that's awesome. Where in Jersey?
Like 20 minutes south of Princeton.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. Very much like suburbs, dollar stores and grocery stores. Yeah. But then I went to school at Berkeley in Boston.
Oh, true.
So like little city.
Whoa.
Tiny baby little city.
I really like Boston.
I
My
love
like
it.
best friend is from Brookline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we've like spent a bunch of time there. It's awesome.
It's great. It is like a city that you outgrow, I think,
That's
pretty
fair.
quickly. But I feel like moving from like a city, like a walkable city, LA feels so much more like isolating in comparison, because it's like to see your friends, it's like
so much effort.
storm.
It's like so I didn't realize how much accessibility I had in New York, I guess, where I can like walk outside and like go to the park by my house and go like see this, like run into people on the street like it is. I mean, other than us running into each other at Trader Joe's all the time.
All the time. I can't even go to like the Silver Lake Reservoir anymore either, because it's like everyone you know.
I like get really scared. I like have been like emphasis on trying to run, and I'm like, oh my god, if someone like runs into me at my most vulnerable, like running and sweating, like I don't think I will. I think I'll have to move away.
Yeah, and it's like running at the reservoir. It's like everyone's running in a line, basically.
Yeah, no,
so many.
I knew enough to know to not run at the reservoir.
I didn't even make it all the way around. I was like,
there's
I can't
also
do this.
been like so many spiders.
There are so many
and
spiders.
I was like, I like did not sign up for this. I was like, I'm gonna go. Me and my roommates like went to the reservoir and we're like, wow, like Los Angeles, like this is like whatever. And there were spiders, like the biggest spiders I had ever seen.
No,
it was so scary. I was like I was walking fully in the street, like into cars, because I was like, I cannot, like they're over your head.
It's like the tree and then the gate, and they're like right over.
Yes,
you. I think they're kind of cool, but like if they
are cool when they're not like close to me. Like so impressive, do your thing, so beautiful, but I'm scared.
Thank you, but thank you for saying that. I didn't know that anyone else felt that
just
way.
to validate that we have not been back since.
Stop.
We were scared.
Once winter comes, you can reemerge.
Yeah. Hopefully, we'll see. I'm kind of scared for winter here because it's like I'm scared I'm not gonna feel any difference in the weather. Like when I first moved, I was like, oh, I like need to be outside, like especially from like hours 5 p.m. to like 7, and it's like beautiful.
Yeah.
When I was living in New York, it was like we have to like take advantage of this like 2 hours, and so whenever I moved, I was like, I have to be outside like all of the time, which was awesome. But then I was like, oh, like this is every day, like this is all the time. Yeah. And it's like kind of dystopian and weird.
It really fucked with me when I first moved here, especially because like coming from the East Coast with the seasons, I just like, I feel like something in my brain needs that structure to like move on with life.
Yes. I'm like, I'm scared I'm like not going to feel any seasons and be like, what the?
Not. I'm sorry.
I probably will not. Yeah. But in New York too, it like reaches March and it's been cold and scary for so long, and so I think it'll be net good. Yeah,
net good. You'll meet the rains. The rains happen for about 2 months.
Really?
Yeah.
It rains?
I mean, since I've lived here, I think that global warming might have something to do with that.
True.
Awesome.
Score.
But yeah, it's a sight to be seen when like the gutter systems are not well equipped to deal with the rains. So then it rains for a week straight, and then there's like 3-foot rivers along the sides of the roads.
That's exciting.
That's your winter.
Whoa. Wait, I'm kind of scared.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Good. I like it personally.
Okay. I'll see if I think I will. I think any change of like it feels dystopian, like how sunny and perfect it is all the time. But
it is a dystopian city.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Weird.
Very cool. So.
I'm happy to be here. Yeah. I'm grateful.
Well, I'm super excited that you're here for a little taste making podcast.
I'm excited too. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. We're going to go through a little 3-course meal of your music. And I would love to know, if listeners had never heard your music before, what would you tell them to start with?
I thought about this a lot because I only have so many songs to choose from. But Tooth, I would say, would be the first, which was the first song I released.
Yeah.
Loose tooth, tight string. Won't you slam the door? Vermouth, split screen. What you yelling for? Father figure from the backseat. Can't hit the downbeat. if it smacked you in the face.
Yeah, it was such a like quick song. Like the other, I have like 4 songs coming out on this project this year, and there were 2 of them that were like very recent or like in the last year, and then the other 2 were like over the course of multiple years.
Okay.
And that one was like one of the last ones that I decided was like part of a project that I wanted to release, and like came together so quickly. And that was like something I hadn't really felt before. I feel like I'm typically like really like working a song for way too long, to the point where I'm like, this won't come out because I'm like tired of this.
Right.
And so I felt really excited that like something like clicked so quickly. It felt really good. And it's like weird and like loud and like also not, and also sad. Like it's like so many things. So I feel like maybe it's a good entrance to like, if you can take this, then maybe
Then
you
you'll
can
love
take the rest of
everything
it.
else.
Yeah.
I like that. I would love to know like that story of like making the song. Like, what do you think made it just come together differently?
I don't know. I was making a lot of music. I like had just toured for a long time playing drums, and was like feeling really inspired. I was like, we had listened to like, so you have so much downtime when you're like traveling so much, and was listening to so much music. And yeah, I was just feeling really excited to be back at home with like my closest friends and like make something really weird.
Yeah.
And all of my roommates were out of the house at the time, and I was like in the living room. We had my other 2 roommates who were like my 2 best friends in Brooklyn. They are also extremely talented producers and writers and artists, and so our house is very loud all the time.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, like I'm gonna make something in the living room because like no one is here.
Yeah.
So I felt like I had full freedom to kind of like do whatever, and we had like recording setups in all of our rooms of our apartment. And so yeah, I just like started making I mean, I still am. I like love distortion, and I think like really intentional. I'm like a nerd. Like I'm at the end of like being an artist is crazy. I like always thought I would just be like making really weird sounds on my laptop forever, which I guess I'm doing that also. But yeah, I was like really into distortion and like really trying to make something that felt like really like crispy and like distorted in a way that was interesting, and like kind of pair that with like so much pop music that I was listening to, like really strategic like word choice, and like usually writing comes so secondary to me, and so I like would be like really like not very careful with my lyrics, but this was the first time where I was like, I'm gonna like try and pick weird words, like, and just kind of like not police myself in writing. And so it like all kind of came to, I was like producing it and writing it and recording it like section by section, like as I was going through the song, and then all of a sudden like in an hour it was like pretty much the version that it is right now, which is like crazy. But I think my like producer brain was always like, I always like have to go, like if I'm like not interested by like the sound that's happening, then I'm like, I'm over it. And it just like kept going and going, and it felt like one of those moments where like my like hands weren't moving as like fast as my like brain was, which was really like a fun feeling that I don't always feel. But yeah, I don't even know if that answers the question.
No, it so answered the question.
My rambling.
That is such great context, because it is, I feel like a cool quality about your music is that like the sounds do change a lot, and like you get to certain points and like all of a sudden there's like this vocal effect that wasn't there before, and it's like I can see your brain being like, change it. Like,
it's just like me getting bored. It's like, yeah, I like really love, and I just like love listening to music where it's like, here's the context, and just kidding, like I'm gonna take you to a different place 100%. Entirely. So that was exciting to me. And like I was like writing about my like pastor father, like it was like pretty and like tense and like all these things, but I was like laughing doing it. Like the lyrics on a page are like so sad and whatever. I like didn't even think about it at all until I like played it for someone else, and they were like, this is so sad. And I was like, oh, like yes yes it is. I didn't even think about it. And so it's like fun to like the production just like inform all of these things, and then I'm like, oh, after the fact, here are all of the things that I was feeling, and I was just writing about this like thing that was like hard for me, and then all of a sudden it's like recontextualized in this really weird way, like only if you listen hard enough, which I like think is a fun thing too in music that I like. But
yeah, to be able to like decode it kind of.
Totally. Yeah. Like because on first listen it's just like, what is going on? There's so many things happening. But yeah,
that's such like a producer thing too though, to have like most of the context like in the actual sounds itself too.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, like, when did you make the switch? Like, did you ever decide like this is going to be for me, like I'm going to release an artist project, or did you just like make that song and be like, oh, I guess I should like put that out?
Yeah, I don't know. I like yes and no. I kind of always thought I would just be a producer. I like went to school for production and technology mostly, and was just scared and like didn't want to like have the responsibility of like putting my name behind something in such an intense way.
Totally.
Like I think I'm learning that a lot right now. Like being an artist is so hard and weird and crazy, like even on like the smallest level. But yeah, I like was lucky enough to study in Berlin for like a big chunk of time.
Cool.
And just had like made all of this music with like all of these different people in New York up until that point. Like when I first moved, like produced a bunch of hip hop music, and then like worked on like a country artist, that like Americana artist for a long time, and like all of this other stuff, and was kind of just like running down every rabbit hole that I was interested in. Like even when I first went to school, I was like, I want to do film scores and like write weird experimental music for like fashion, and like I was just kind of like interested in so many things. And so I felt really privileged to be able to like study all of that and like be like, okay, this works, this doesn't, and then kind of figure that out. But all that to say, I like studied in Berlin, and kind of that was the first time where I was like, oh, this feels like really like the things I was making, I was like, this feels like very aligned with like something that feels like only me could have, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I like made Double Dog there, and that was like the first time I was like, oh, like this is weird, and like I'm having a good time making this. I think for a long time too, I was like, I want to make X, and like to get to X, like it's not going to be that fun because I like I need to do all of these other things and follow all of these like production rules and engineering rules to like make something like polished in this way. And that was the first time where I was like, oh, like what if I just like enjoy what I'm making? And that was like the first time where I was like, oh, like this works, and I'm excited about this, and it doesn't feel like I'm like forcing anything. And yeah, I don't know. But I honestly didn't really, I knew like I would make songs that were like for myself, but I like never thought that I would actually like pursue. I never called myself artist. I was like, that is such a scary like title to have. It wasn't really until I like challenged myself to like play my music for my like closest friends and like people around me, and they were like, no, like you are so artist, that I was like, oh, okay, maybe I can like get over the insecurity of that and do that. But yeah, I don't know. But I had like a bunch of random songs that I was like, oh, like maybe this, and it wasn't until like this past year where I was like, okay, I'm graduating music school, like I gotta have something to show for myself. But it's like been cool that people like it. Yeah, I don't know.
People do like it. I mean, that is like a whole other crazy part of it. Like Tooth just like fucking there she was, and everybody was listening to her.
I don't know about that, but yeah, I mean, it was cool. More than I thought. I was like, people outside of the people I see every day have listened to this. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I still think that, but
it is. I mean, people were like sending me the song and being like, have you heard this?
That's like, so insane. Whoa. That is crazy.
It's
That's
exciting,
so cool.
But I don't think that a lot of people are making the sort of music you are making, and a lot of that is because you like said no to like just trying to be like your influences. You just like made like, I don't know, sort of like the little pieces of all these other genres that you had studied.
Totally. Like, and I just like stopped caring a lot. I like I don't know. I definitely think my like influences come through like in weird ways. But I think a lot, like especially like through high school and like early college, learning like just how to use like music production software and like learning how to like engineer something. I was like, I listen to these people. Why does my music not sound like this?
Sure.
And that was like such a cool growing pain experience where I'm like, oh no, like I'm just like interpreting like things through myself. I think for a long time I was really scared because like my music was touching on so many different things, like and like other songs that I have like coming out are like so different from Double Dog and Tooth, which I'm like excited about, but I was always afraid of like the cohesive thing. Sure. Like I was like, oh, this doesn't fit in like these genre labels that I know, like how am I gonna make this like one cohesive thing? But it's like all me, and it's like all my hands and like my closest friends' hands on the songs. So like just by and large it like sounds like myself, which I like think is very anti genre of me. But I don't know.
I think that is like the most important thing though to know as you're starting your artist career though, because like your sound's going to change, your influences are going to change, but as long as you have a concrete vision of like who you are,
for sure,
that is what people are going to like resonate with.
Yeah, I like always thought, especially when like Tooth like started getting like a little bit of momentum, I was like, oh my god, like if I had released music any sooner, I like would not have like been prepared for that. Like I think if I like I feel so happy about like my friends and like things outside of music and like the people that are close to me and like collaborating on other people's music, where I was like, oh, like if this doesn't work, I'm like totally fine. Like I like am excited about my life outside of this too, and that was like what allowed it, I think, to like do well. Also like putting effort into that, knowing that it wasn't like everything ever. Like if it like completely fell apart, that it would be fine. I mean, that would not be very fun. I like do love music, but yeah, I think that definitely helped.
I get what you're saying, and that's kind of huge.
Yeah, like if I was a teenager, like if songs I made when I was a teenager were out in public, that would be terrifying. I like don't think I would be doing music anymore.
Yeah, I get that. I just wiped all of my teenage shit off of the internet. No,
but I think it's like also sweet. I'm like, when it's not me, it's awesome.
Exactly.
But yeah,
everyone's like, no, the lore. I'm like, you don't need that lore. That's
personally, you do not need that from me.
Unimportant.
I want to hear Teenage Abby kind of song.
I'll send you,
please. That would be awesome.
Oh gosh. Well, I want to know like what I'm assuming Double Dog is like our entree, like the meat of where you are.
I dare you, double dog, I scare you, coyote in the yard, you went there, I didn't think you would, aren't you baby, how are you if I could?
And did you say you wrote that in Berlin?
I did. I wrote it with my like best friend Lucas, who still lives in New York. Perfect prince.
Sick.
But yeah, I miss him very much. But we made it in our dorm in Berlin, and there was this like really small room for the music students in the dorm that was like had speakers and like that's it, like nothing else.
That's all you need.
I think maybe there was like a really small shitty interface or something.
Okay.
But yeah, it was funny because we like had to study abroad to graduate. It was like part of our like curriculum, which you could like petition out of if you wanted. But I was like, I'm going.
Yeah.
But we had like a specific music program in Berlin, and me and Lucas went, and they gave this like little room, even though it was like for music, like most of the kids there were for music. Mm-hmm. There was only this like small little room in the dorm. One. They had like this really nice studio in like this really hip neighborhood of Berlin called Kreuzberg. That's like really cool and arty neighborhood. Mm-hmm. But like we were all fighting over access to like that studio, and it was like far, and it was like anyways. But we were like trapped in this little room, and we were like, I like have this really like this list on my phone of like just names that I really like for songs, and Double Dog was one of them, and I was like, I just want to like make a song that's called that, and I like wrote the verse like just on guitar. It was this like kind of like indie girl like song, and then we just like started adding all of this really weird synth stuff because we just couldn't help it like living there, I guess, and that's kind of how it happened. But
that's cool.
Yeah.
So sort of like the opposite experience of Tooth, where like you wrote the whole song and then went and added
sort of. It was like back and forth. And Lucas is like, his melody, he's like so like musician. Like he is like, he grew up here and is like such a, he's like so talented, and is like will spend like years like on one voice memo, like perfecting everything. And I'm like, if it's not, like if it doesn't have weird sounds and I'm not in my computer, then I'm like over it immediately. Like I like can't focus on it. And he's like so good at like really mathematically like piecing melodies together in a way that I like have learned so much from him. So yeah, some of my like favorite parts, especially now, like someone was asking me yesterday if I was like over Double Dog, like if I like was done. And like I have listened to that song for so long. Aww. And I'm like love it still because I like get to hear like Lucas in it, and like
sweet.
My one of my other friends, Jason, like added a bunch of stuff later, and like all of this other stuff, and like the video too, like having my friends that have such different like skill sets than me, like putting their effort into it is like what makes me like still love it so much, even though my like ADD brain is like over like whatever.
Yeah.
But no, I like love it because I can hear so much of them in it, and it's so cool. Yeah.
That's so sweet.
It's true. I'm like proud of the work that I've also done on the songs, but I like love hearing the people that I care about on it too. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to be an artist. Like, you're doing so much of it alone, quote unquote, because it feels very like lonely. But at the end of the day, like, you are working with so many people, and like the collaborators are what are supposed to like keep you uplifted.
Totally.
So,
and like even like songs like Tooth that I like produced by myself, like Lucas and Ben, my like other best friend, like they heard it right when they got home, and like them like being like, oh, what if you tried this, or like them having ears on it is like equally as like collaborative to me in a lot of ways too, which is always fun. But yeah,
that's awesome.
Thanks.
Wow.
I think so too. I feel very lucky to have cool music friends. I feel like the more people I meet, the more rare I feel like that actually is, which is cool.
It is rare.
Yeah.
It is. But I want to hear about what's to come for you.
Yeah.
You have more songs on the horizon that I don't know.
True. Yeah, I have 2 more songs coming out this side of the year.
Yeah.
Which is really exciting. I'm excited for them. One of them is also really old that I like kind of started doing in Berlin as well, but it's like a lot folkier and like sadder, and yeah, I'm excited about that. And then like this other song, it's the most recent song that I made, is also coming out this year, which I'm really excited for. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be cool.
Yeah, I guess I'm most curious about like what the sonic difference is.
Yeah.
Like, what were your sort of influences for each of these tracks?
Totally.
Yeah.
There's the song Watering Can that's coming out next.
Cool.
Thanks.
Awesome name.
I'm glad you already like it.
Yeah.
I'll choose you every time. This is all you wanted, but baby, you got it. I'm pulling threads till they're knotted.
Yeah, that one, Lucas like had started this song with this like acoustic guitar thing, like very mellow, like acoustic guitar song that he had written. He was like, I'm over it, I don't like it anymore, and just like sent me the stems, and that was like the only one that I kept in, and I just like completely rewrote this song around it. And that was one of those where I like actually challenged myself to like be off of the computer, and like spent a lot of time like writing the lyrics and being like, this melody is going to work in this way and this is going to tee this up in this way. But it's like a really like old sad like folk song from like earlier on in college.
Okay.
But I like, my like vocal processing is really weird and like tuned.
Cool.
And like I think that's like, it's like really contrasting. There's like a lot of like field recording in it from when I was like studying abroad, and like a lot of like really weird like folk ear candy sort of things, which I always love listening to.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. So definitely like, I don't know, I've been like really obsessed with like very acoustic music translated like really electronically, like
Yes.
really like digitally. So it's like if you take everything away, like most of these songs are like pretty folk or like pop arranged songs.
Sure.
But like have such weird things in them. So there's like a lot of like acoustic stuff going on, a lot of like, yeah, it's cool. I like it. I'm proud of it.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. And then the last song, which is my favorite of the 4, is Moth, and it's like one that I also like produced pretty much alone, and like that one is like kind of like precipice of like what I feel like I'm interested in right now too, of like there's like so much acoustic music going on in it, and like my like vocals are like the cleanest they are in all of them, and then like it's like kind of like the exact idea of like here's all the context, and then it like totally changes sonically.
Awesome.
And it was one of those too where I wonder if you feel like this too writing songs, but like I kind of like understand what you were feeling like after it's done sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like I like wrote this whole song and like produced out this whole song, and I was like really proud of it too, because I like did so much production like first as I was doing it, and like sonically it was like so dynamic and like so dynamic and like went so many different places.
Yeah.
And like that like felt really like aligned with what the song was like about, or like feelings that I was feeling. Like sonically it felt really like, it just felt like I had like done a lot of production practice, and then like this was the first time where I was like, oh, okay, like this like works together in this way.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But yeah, after the song was like totally done, I was like, oh, like this like speaks so much more like about like myself, and like about what I was feeling, and like about what I was scared about, and like all of these other like more internal feelings that I didn't realize, where I was like, oh, I'm just like writing about like this person, or I'm just like writing about this thing, which was a cool feeling. Yeah.
It's like you think you know what it's about, and then you listen back to it when it's done.
Totally.
You're like, oh.
I was like, oh, that is what I was feeling.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really excited about that one, because I think, yeah, the production is just really weird, and I'm proud of it, which is cool. But yeah.
I'm super stoked to hear them. I'm like entering that journey of like listening to like MJ Lenderman and like Porches. I've been really into.
Oh my God.
With I'm just like it's like kind of like gross, like ugly tones.
Totally.
But so artful.
Yes.
The way they're used.
I am like such a stupid big Porches fan. And MJ Lenderman, I like love Wednesday, and I love all of those people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like am obsessed with him. I think like All Day Gentle Hold was like, has always been like one of my biggest albums ever, because it was just like, oh, like distortion is a thing, and like there are no rules, and like all of that was so exciting to me. And I like grew up in Nashville, and that's like very live music-y, and I like loved like Snail Mail and like Always and like indie rock girlies, and like that it like touches on that and like what I'm interested in now, which I like really love. Like I always thought I would be like like rock guitar, or like I played drums for so long, I was like loud rock music, live music,
loud.
And I make such like insular like laptop music, and so I think now I'm like really excited about like what that means to like bring myself out of the computer a lot more. And we're like planning this live show for the end of the year too, for all of the songs, which I'm really excited for, and like putting all of the songs in like a way that's like very like really extended and live and like big sounding is like such a cool fun thing that I like love. Like I'm like so obsessed with it. Like I like MD'd my friend's tour in May and like played drums on that, and like sitting with her and being like, how can we like make this part bigger and make this do whatever and whatever. It's like very different music, but it is like so fun and cool.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm obsessed with like arrangement and like that sense that's like very creative in a different way than like actually writing a song. But
I was thinking about how you were going to translate your music to live.
Totally. It's weird. It's hard.
It's so hard, but there's like so much opportunity to do cool shit. It's not just like tracks and you singing. Like, are you going to be like live doing?
That's what the goal is. Okay. If I can practice hard enough to do that. Yeah, I think the goal is to be like as little laptop as possible.
That's awesome.
I like really want to do like, well, we're like doing it like really gallery formatted because we're like having videos for all of the songs, and I like love the other, like it feels like kind of like a big old art project for like me and my friends instead of just like my music, which is like the most energizing part for me. So yeah, we like have videos for all the songs, and like two of our really good friends like are like insane videographers and photographers, and like I want them to like display their work. Sweet. And like we're just gonna like have a bunch of stuff going on. So I like want to like play live drums and like do all of these other things for it, but in like a space like that, I like don't know how that's gonna actually sound. So there's like been a lot of troubleshooting going on recently.
It sounds so cool.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah, please come. Please
you
come.
didn't invite me, but I'm gonna be there.
I'm inviting you. Please come. That would be awesome.
Yay. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, I have a couple of closing questions for you.
I'm ready.
Okay. Very serious closing questions.
Okay.
I would love to know if your music was a candle, what it would smell like.
Oh my God, that's such a good question.
Thank you.
Whoa. I need to think about it. I really love like, this is gonna sound so stupid, but I love like a very like boy smelling candle, which is like so funny, but yeah, literally, but like a sandalwood or like a like in the woods type of smell, I like love
sure.
that smell. So I hope that like maybe I like my music can live up to that, which is pretty high praise. I like don't want to just like give
I could
myself
see
that.
your music in like a candle in like an amber glass, you know?
Oh my god, that's like what I was picturing. That means so much to me. That's the nicest thing you've ever said.
Amazing. You're welcome.
I like want to know what your candle is.
For my music, I'm recycling answers, but my girlfriend said that my music would smell like sunscreen.
Oh,
so that's
is that like positive or?
I think so.
Okay.
I think like
I was like, whoa. I like it too. Okay,
it's
good.
very nostalgic.
I couldn't tell how you felt about it. I was like, oh no.
When she first said it, I was like, fuck you. And then I got it.
No, but it's like protective and like.
Yeah, I think
Homey.
like this EP that I'm rolling out is very like summer camp vibes
Dope.
too. Like
That's awesome.
summer camp year round.
Oh, I love
So,
that. I'm
yeah.
excited to hear the rest of it.
I'll send
I love
you it.
everything I've heard.
It's dumb and awesome.
no,
I think.
no.
In a good way.
It's awesome.
In a good way.
It's
Good
awesome.
way. Thank you.
Good sunscreen. Also,
Yeah.
the sunscreen is so like nostalgic. I feel like it's so like, yeah.
So many
Compliment.
memories.
I
Yeah.
fuck with it.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Little banana boat.
True.
I'd also love to know what your favorite sound is right now that is not like music related. Or I guess you can if you have a favorite producer
Whoa.
sound.
I could get like really nerdy about it. Because honestly, I've been thinking so much about porches in general because of like how many like atonal sounds are in there that like hurt my ears. So where I'm like, I like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I like also, yeah, this is like a nerdy tangent, but I like helped mix the project too. And I like took a class in college where we like literally listened to pink noise and they would like boost or cut like different frequencies. Did you do that at Berkeley?
I, for a semester, was a recording and mixing technology
Whoa.
minor. And then I was like, I can't do that.
No, you can.
Well, like I was a songwriting major. I was like,
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to end up producing my own music. So this
Okay.
feels like a lot of work that I
That's
shouldn't
fair.
have to do. But I took one singular class and it was on mixing
intense.
techniques.
Yeah.
And it was just like, we would have tests literally where we would have to listen and be like,
Yeah.
what frequency range is this in?
Literally.
Insane shit.
Insane. And at the time I'm like, what the fuck? And now I'm like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with that. Like,
Yeah.
because I just like, I say this literally all the time. I'm so annoying about it, but I like love music and want to do music forever because I just will always be so stupid. Like I like, will
Yeah.
always be so stupid about music. But all that to say, I like always would get obsessed with like 4K, which is like what is supposed to like hurt your ears.
Yeah.
But I would like my friend Jason who was mixing it, he was like, no, like I'm a mixing engineer. Like, well, he's like an incredible producer, but also like mixes a bunch of stuff. But he was like, that is like the frequency you're supposed to take out. Like that is like, you're not supposed to be using that one. And I was like, no, that was supposed to hurt on purpose. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. Anyways, so I like kind of have been loving like the new Porches, like really piercing stuff that like kind of sneaks in every once in a while and like
Yeah.
grabs your attention, but in like sounds outside of music completely.
A life sound.
A live sound, if you will. I like have really missed the sound of like leaves crunching. This is gonna sound so sad, but I like really miss, especially now that like fall is rolling around, and my like roommate Jeffrey is like obsessed with Halloween and like fall, and so we've been like talking about it so much, and he's like buying such like, sorry Jeffrey, like horrible like all, you know, the like wall of like Trader Joe's like pumpkin flavor
Yes.
things.
Yes.
All of it's bad. I can like tell you that is all bad. But it's like made me, I've been thinking about fall so much because like in all of the other places I've lived, everywhere has been so fall. But I like, yeah, I like love the sound of, I guess I've been like hiking a lot and I like love the sound of like feet going through the
Yeah.
ground, like nature sounds.
Nature
Sounds weird,
sounds.
but I like leaves
so
like
good.
ruffling, crunching. I'm like,
The
ooh.
leaves are not crunchy here.
No.
Even when they fall.
No.
I don't know what's up with that.
It's sad.
I've noticed it. Like
We see you.
I see
and we're
a leaf.
upset.
I'm like, I'm purposefully stepping on what looks to be a crunchy leaf and
Yeah.
it doesn't give me what I want.
Yeah, so maybe that's why I've been like a
Yeah.
sound I've been living / missing is that.
Aw,
Wait, that's
so
like such a
true.
horribly sad note to
No,
end
it's
on.
okay.
For
We have
those
one
out
more
there,
question.
for those out there who are stepping on crunchy leaves, like count your blessings. That's
Count your
awesome.
blessings. Send a voice memo.
Yeah,
even.
send us something. That would be awesome.
My final question for you is, who are your ones to watch? Who are you
Whoa.
listening to that I should listen to?
Wait, that's such a good question. I have been, well, I feel like everyone's kind of obsessed with them, but I like love the like Danish female producer composers that are like happening right now, like Emma Book and like Astrid Sohn and like Melina. They're like these crazy cool like classically trained composers that are like making really weird electronic music.
Whoa.
They're so sick. They're so sick. You should listen to that.
I need to deep dive. Yeah,
you really should. I think ML Book is playing at the Echoplex soon.
All right.
I've like told every single person. I'm like, everyone must go. But she's so cool.
Wow.
I'm like trying to think who else. I don't know. So many people. I've been listening to like a lot of really weird like music like that, but also like Sabrina Carpenter. Like,
fuck yeah.
I fucking love her. I like love it. It's crazy. I like was talking to someone. She's like one to watch always. But I like was talking about Short and Sweet with someone, and they were like, that album is like so athletic. And I was like, that is such a good word for that. It's like so impressive and amazing. I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah, it's so clean in my brain.
So clean.
Yeah.
And it's so like mathematically perfect. Like I like love the way like the melodies work in such an impressive way. I'm like all the time like freaking out over it. It's so good. Like Bedchem. Like this is incredible. I'm like, this is the best pop song I've ever heard. I like it's so good.
It really is like on another level.
It's insane.
It's like smart.
It's so smart. Yeah.
Like it's marketed as like dumb, but it is the furthest thing from
it's the furthest. It's incredible.
She knows what she's doing.
And even like I'm also just so I would always do like weird vocal processing because I was like, I don't like want to hear my voice. Like I like doing production things.
Yeah.
But like how intentionally she's like throwing her vocal and like the way the melodies work and her performance. I was like, I'm like, this is something I can never touch. Like this is insane. Like
she can sing.
She can sing.
Yeah.
She can sing. She's so good. And like Sharpest Tool, underrated. I could talk about this forever.
A masterclass of pop songwriting,
it's
truly.
So good. It's
so
good.
Wow.
Anyways.
One to watch.
One to watch always. Sabrina Carpenter. Thank you very much. All
Amazing.
Of these crazy European people and Sabrina Carpenter.
That makes sense.
Obviously.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I can't wait for your new songs.
Thanks.
And your show.
Yeah.
Where you're going to play drums and
hopefully
host a gallery show and make sounds on your computer all at the same time.
All at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be perfect with no flaws.
No flaws at all. Well, once again, this is Once to Watch Chef's Choice. I'm Abby Kenna, and this is Emory. Listen to all of music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please.
Yay. Woo.